Okay, so today I'm going to go over some of the basics for converting seller leads, some trends that we see, and just kind of the best practices. And then we have some awesome lead conversion experts on the call as well that are going to go through their approach with converting seller leads, and then answer any questions at the end that you guys have. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So today I'm going to just share stuff that really works. I cut all the fluff out, and this is just gonna be like 15 minutes of stuff that really works. It's working for our members all over North America. And if you're in our Facebook group, here's a bunch of screenshots from that. You'll see these posts all the time. Agents getting listings, setting appointments consistently with these different methods. So this stuff works and it's pretty awesome. You can also see more success stories at boldleads.com/success if you're looking for some inspiration. And I think Bill Watson has a nice video on there too, and he'll be on the call a little later. Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, I just want to show you and take a quick look at how we actually generate the seller leads in the first place, just so we have the same starting point. So let me pull up the landing page. So we run pay-per-click ads primarily on Facebook to target homeowners who are likely to sell in a certain zip code or area. We offer something of value to them, in this case, a free home valuation. So because most people's largest asset is their home, um, they want to know what it's worth, and they don't have a way to evaluate their home's current value. They get statements from their bank accounts, their IRA, 401k, their stocks, bonds, insurance, all that stuff. But they don't really have an accurate way to keep track of their home's actual value, and it's usually their biggest asset and the most money involved. So this is really where the agent comes in and starts the relationship. So once a homeowner clicks the ad, they're taken to a landing page. This is a sample landing page. Then this asks them to enter their address. I'll just show you. So they enter their address, and it kind of auto-completes for them. And even if they close out of the landing page or hit the back button, we still grab that street address. And then it shows their house on a map and asks for contact information. A lot of homeowners, the majority of them, will actually enter their info, but some people aren't comfortable doing that. So they'll usually start to fill out the form, but they don't complete it. So maybe they'll fill out this, but they'll get to the next page and they'll say, nah, and they hit the back button. We still capture that as well anyway, and we call those partial leads. If they do submit all of their contact information, then the landing page lets them know that an agent's going to be contacting them. And then if you're in the US, you can have Zillow give a valuation range right away. Let's check the questions here. Okay, we're good. Okay, so back to lead conversion. Okay, so seller leads, they're very unique. They're not really like your typical prospect, and they're not like a buyer lead, which most agents are used to dealing with. And there's a saying, I think Buddy Blake started this, that buyers buy houses and sellers buy agents. So most home buyers, they don't really care who the agent is, what qualifications they have, as long as they're responsive, they answer the phone, because they just want to go out and look at houses. But sellers, they perceive it a lot differently. They feel like they're hiring you, and they need to be given some value ahead of time, and they need to be persuaded and impressed and shown proof of results in order to actually hire you. So we compiled the results of a bunch of different recent studies in North America to get a general look at who the average seller is. And on average, they're about 48 years old. About 3/4 are married. The majority are on social media on a daily basis, which is huge. And 67% will still hire the first agent they come across when they're ready to list their home. And on average, according to the self-reported data, they spend about 11 months thinking about selling before they actually pull the trigger to list. And they also say that responsiveness and trustworthiness are the top two reasons that they chose the specific agent to work with. So keep all that stuff in mind when you're following up. And this is similar to what we find when we analyze seller lead gen from like 34 different sources. An average of about 1 to 4.5% of prospects are ready to sell right away. And these are obviously going to be the hottest leads. These are going to be the prospects who are most likely to want to meet with you right off the bat. But we did find that the actual selling time frame is a little bit longer. And we also know that on average, the majority of your leads will move every 5 to 8 years, depending on your area. So if 67% of those homeowners are choosing the first agent they come across and the first agent that comes to mind when they're ready to sell, you're in luck as long as you've been following up consistently. So a decent amount will want to sell within the first 60 days. An awesome follow-up and scripting will turn those into listings right off the bat. But most other leads, they're going to need some incubation. They're going to take a little longer to make a decision to list, or until like a life circumstance kind of forces them to put their house on the market. So below here is a rough idea of what the engagement life cycle looks like for seller leads. Most leads won't sell for a while, so the biggest ROI is definitely long-term. And like everybody will tell you on the call today, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So what's interesting is what we find is that most agents and most of our clients stop following up after the first couple days and first week max. So this means they're leaving all of this other money on the table. And this is where the biggest ROI is, down the pipeline. So most of these leads, regardless of where they come from, they need to be nurtured and followed up with continually and consistently in order to get that big return that you're looking for. And it does work, and you can automate the majority of your follow-up. We have an automation specialist on the call, Greg Harrelson, who we'll introduce in a minute, who's got this down to a science. And if you do get this set up and you follow through consistently, you're going to see fantastic results. It's like clockwork. So consistency is a huge factor, and being confident on the phone and organizing your follow-up is another huge factor. So it's worth mentioning that it still is, and probably always will be, the number one way to convert a lead is to speak with them on the phone. You need to get them on the phone as soon as possible. And a few studies have shown that it takes about 5 to 7 call attempts to get prospects on the phone. But it's worth the effort because it does work, and that's how you actually will end up converting the leads. As long as you have a solid game plan once you do get them on the phone. And we have some scripts I'll share in a minute. Next slide. So one tip I want to mention is to make it as easy and convenient as possible for someone to get in touch with you. And this means following up in different ways through different mediums. So this can be phone calls, text, emails, handwritten notes, postcards, CMAs. You want to follow up in a lot of different ways and make it super simple for them to get in contact with you, make it convenient. And a lot of this stuff requires a little bit more effort for now. Don't tell anybody, but we're actually going to automate this entire process. And it does work, but very few agents are going to use anything other than email. So even if you're using like an extra method, if you're calling every couple weeks, every once a month, doing something extra, you're already ahead of everyone else because no one else is going to take the time to do that. One thing I want to bring up is automated valuations. So some of our landing pages use this. This is kind of a common thing, the AVM model that Zillow uses or SmartZip uses to try to predict a home's true value. But the truth is that there's just way too many variables for an algorithm to consider to give an accurate value right off the bat. It's just really unlikely that it's going to come out dead accurate. And that's great news for you guys, because if Zillow was able to give like an accurate home value in one click, then homeowners wouldn't want or need to talk to you to find out what their house is worth. So use this inaccuracy to your advantage. Blame the technology if people are complaining about it. It works. This approach definitely works. So add something to your spiel, to your script about you saw their numbers come in, you thought their value looked kind of off, and you'd be happy to come by and give them a personalized and accurate assessment in person. This stuff does work. I've seen it live, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so as we showed earlier, a lot of seller leads won't actually list for a little while. This means that they'll probably say that they're just curious. They won't indicate a selling time frame right off the bat. That doesn't mean that they're not sellers or potential sellers. In fact, it's usually the opposite. A lot of times they just don't want to be bombarded with sales calls, and they use it as sort of a defense mechanism. And so there's nothing wrong with these leads. So make sure that you add them to your database and you're following up just as often. And keep in mind that it is a numbers game, just like every other aspect of sales. And 1 to 4.5% of your leads are going to be ready to list sooner rather than later. Bill Watson, who's also on the call, who I'll introduce shortly, will tell you that these are super valuable leads. I think he just posted in our Facebook group that he just set an appointment with a Just Curious lead last week. So that's awesome. So we've compiled like the top tips from our top agents on seller lead follow-up, and these are the common threads that we saw. First, you want to make sure that you're contacting leads right away, as soon as you possibly can. The whole idea is to get them on the phone, whether they're selling right away or not. If you don't get a hold of them the first day, try calling them at the same time that they came in on your landing page, but on a different day. Because a lot of times people tend to be online at the same times every single day. It's like habitual internet use at the same time. Or try at the inverse time. So if they came in, in the evening, try calling them in the morning, that kind of thing. Also, some people debate this, but you can leave a voicemail, and we've seen it work best when a voicemail is left either after the first call of the day or the last call of the day. And I'll give you a script to use that actually does really well with getting callbacks in a second. If you are a real go-getter, you can send out a handwritten note. So a lot of people talk about this and how good it is and stuff, but no one really does it. It's just true. It's with most things. No one's really going to be willing to put in that effort to actually send it out. And we have seen this work over and over again because it stands out. It's unique. People aren't getting handwritten notes anymore. It stands out a lot more than an email or a text. Also, we have a lot of agents who just set all their leads up on new listing and sold alerts for the leads neighborhood right through the agent's MLS. So pretty much every MLS allows you to do this now, and I'm pretty sure it's super easy to do. I know Flex MLS here in Phoenix is like 2 clicks, you can set it up. You want to make sure that they're still getting an email drip campaign, and you can use the one built in through Bold Leads. We have multiple funnels. You can also set up Cloud CMA to send out CMAs automatically every month or every quarter. And you can do this in the funnel section of your Bold Leads account. But it's worth mentioning that you shouldn't rely on these emails and these CMAs alone. A lot of agents and brokers think that, okay, I'm sending them emails, that's good enough. But it's not. It's been proven over and over again that you need to be using multiple mediums, and the most important medium is the phone call itself. So you need to be calling these people and not just relying on the email and the CMAs to do the work for you. It's really just supposed to be like a conversation starter is the whole point. Another tip that came up again is adding your leads to your farming print campaigns. So sending out just sold, just listed cards, adding them to your database and continually marketing to them seems to work. And then of course you want to make sure that you are staying patient and consistent. And that's really the key with all follow-up. And then, there's a lot of different styles of follow-up. So you want to use something that fits your personal style and your personality. So if you're super introverted, it's probably not a good idea to go door knock, just because it's not going to come off as natural to you, unless you've been trained or coached. So just keep that in mind that you want to apply your style to it as well. When you are following up through email, there's just a couple tips I want you to keep in mind. So first, people hate getting long emails. They don't read them. And so keep them short. Keep them short and sweet, and you'll get higher response rates with that. And avoid adding too much branding to your emails. Don't have an email signature that's like super long or with crazy graphics. Keep it really simple. And you can add something like sent from my iPhone or sent from my Android to your email signature. That makes your emails appear more genuine and actually does increase response rates. Also, we see this a lot. Make sure that you spell check your emails. because misspelling something in the subject line may get it opened, but it's not exactly the image you want to portray. And also keep your emails light and friendly. Remember that your goal is to get these prospects on the phone at some point, but you don't want to be like pressuring them into anything. Okay, so real quick, because our system captures 3 types of leads, there's the address captures, there's the partial leads, and the full leads. We get a lot of questions on what are you supposed to do with address captures. So we took these 4 guys out of the Facebook group. These are posts that they put in there. You can view these in detail at boldleads.com/address captures. I'm just going to briefly go over these. Matt is a client, and he mails out CMAs, and he will actually put a CMA, print one out, put it in a priority mail envelope, and leave it by the prospect's door if they're nearby. And he said that he actually got one listing from that already, and he just started doing that. So that's pretty cool. I know Tony mails postcards and tries to bring these address captures back to his landing page to re-engage them, to bring them back into his marketing funnel. Arvind is in a high-end area in Huntington Beach, I think, and he actually door knocks, which is interesting because you usually hear that luxury areas are difficult to door knock, but he has listed 2 luxury homes just from door knocking the address captures. So it does work, especially if you have a game plan. Peter takes a little bit of different approach. He sends a handwritten note card with his business card and cross-references the address list with a site like searchbug.com or whitepages.com or even Kohl's directory to find phone numbers for his addresses. So there's a ton of different approaches. You can get more details at this link right here. One cool thing that I've seen a couple agents do is print out Zestimates. So if you're in the US, because everybody knows that Zillow's estimate is way off all the time. So they print out a screenshot of the person's house on Zillow with the Zestimate. They will attach a Post-it note, and then they'll just write something like, hey, are you curious about your home's actual value? Shoot me a text here, or call me here, or visit my landing page here. And then they just drop this at their door or throw it in the mail. So that's just another idea, trying to get your wheels spinning on some different techniques you can take to convert. Let me just check the questions. Let's see. It would freak me out if I didn't think I submitted it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So Richard is saying that it would freak him out if he got something like that and he didn't think he submitted it. What's interesting is the majority of people aren't even going to remember that they visited your site, especially if they just entered their address. So I don't think that's really going to happen, but would be interesting to find out. So here's a simple script that some agents are using. I'm going to skip this, going over this in detail, and let our experts kind of talk about this. But there is a voicemail script that's working really well I want to show you, which says, so it's pretty simple. It just goes, hey Bob, this is Danny from XYZ Realty. You had hit our site and requested the value of your home, and I have some great news for you. Give me a call back at 480-555-1234, and I would love to share that with you. So this great news can be that they qualify for your guaranteed sale program, that you have buyers in their area that are looking for a house, or that it's a seller's market. It really doesn't matter. You're just trying to get that call back to you, from the lead. So if you are a Bold Leads member, you can download all these scripts in the training section. I believe it's under the lead conversion tab or the webinar replay tab. Or you can just go to boldleads.com/free scripts and download them there. Okay, so we have some awesome people on the call, and I want to introduce them to you. They are all lead conversion experts, and I want them each to go through their different approach with seller leads to give you an idea of what's really working for them in different markets. So let me introduce them first, and they can each go through them. So first is Bill Watson. Bill's a real estate coach for Craig Proctor, and he's a broker in Aurora, Colorado. We're constantly hearing good things about Bill, his approach to leads. So we thought we'd have him on and share his ideas. I think he was on the last call, and he got a ton of great feedback. So welcome, Bill. I'll meet you guys.
You hear me now, Danny?
There you are, Bill. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good.
Good.
Okay. Next, I want to introduce Greg Harrelson. So Greg is somewhat of a coach himself. He specializes in Infusionsoft and automating follow-up campaigns and business processes. And he also runs a real estate team in Myrtle Beach. One thing, I was researching Greg online, and I found that his team closed over 900 transactions in 2012 alone. So you'll probably want to listen up to what he has to say. Welcome to the call, Greg.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And lastly, we have Jessica Kerr. So Jessica is an agent in Colorado, and she's our top success manager here at Bold Leads, actually. She is super good on the phone with leads directly, and our members rave about her suggestions and her coaching tips to help them convert their own leads. So we thought we'd have her on as well. Welcome, Jessica. Oops, let me unmute you. There you go. Okay, so Bill, can you start us off by just going through your approach with the seller leads?
I can. So, it's interesting because, and Danny, you brought out a number of things in the webinar that I think people have to realize that when you're working with seller leads, right, at times you are going to capture that now seller. But in many cases, and when you understand this, it becomes very, very powerful. You appreciate the fact that you're catching people very, very early on in the process of whether or not they're going to sell their house. And the reason is obvious. They're in their nest, right? So leaving the nest is always takes a lot more thought unless you've had some type of a life-changing event, like a relocation, job transfer, kids on the way that's going to require more space, and some of those things that might require something to happen maybe just a little bit quicker. So the perseverance and patience that is required for the seller lead is critically important. And you hit on in the webinar as well the time frame, and we're easily anywhere from 6 to 9 months in that range of people when we meet them the first time as a seller before we get to a point where we're actually converting them into the client. But the great thing about Bold Leads is, these are good relevant leads, and so we'll talk a little bit about what we do. We recognize, and we're handling the seller leads in the same way I've handled seller leads for a very, very long time, especially under our systems. But they've asked for something in the very beginning, and what they've asked for is an evaluation of their home. So we think it's critically important that we fulfill what they've asked for as close to now as possible. We have used in the past, we tried Cloud CMA, and we just had some issues with it communicating well with our MLS here. So we use RPR. It takes about, it's so fast, it doesn't really matter. It takes about 2 minutes to do, and then I can, or whoever we have running the system on that particular time, we can take a quick look at it and just make sure the value is not out of whack. We then, we do not send it right through the system. We download it and we attach it to a formal email that goes out to them. And then what happens right after that is we then follow up with our phone call. And so the phone call is our universal callback script, which is the most important 698 words a person will ever use. We introduce ourselves, and we let them know the reason that we're calling is because we received a request for the information they wanted and that we've sent it to them. Is that okay? and then we work through our established motivation and timing questions. Now, in setting the appointment, what people have to realize when you're working this side of the business, if someone says, "Hey, look, right now I'm just curious," and I do want to say something, everyone, I believe, in the very beginning, especially when you get them very early on, are curious. Because what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to build their awareness set of, hey, really, where does it look like my house value is at? They're going to make some assumptions on their own. That in time is going to build up on their motivations to sell. So the just curious lead doesn't surprise me. For the most part, I've really quit looking at that. I mean, I see sometimes it says 1 to 3 months, just curious. I call the refinances because I think the best way to refinance your home is to buy another one. And it's like if you want to remodel your home, just buy a new home, right? So I don't allow myself to get tied in or drawn into judging why they asked that question, because it's obvious that they're just curious at that phase. If they're a year out, then we know right away that we can just put them right into our follow-up systems and move on to the next one. But the important thing is recognizing on setting the appointment over the phone is to now make them an offer that is going to be relevant. So you can't just say, would you like a free market analysis on your home, because they already have one.
Right.
Okay. They're going to say, well, no, we already have one. So we come in and we simply say, look, would you like a more accurate evaluation to determine what your home would sell for? And while I'm there, I'll also give you tips on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money. And we'll go over all the various closing costs you will incur, so you'll know exactly what you'll have left in your pocket after the expenses. It's free of charge. There's no obligation. Does that sound like that'll be helpful? Well, so now I haven't just come in with a offer to give them a more accurate value. I am now enhancing the offer, because we're also going to come in and we're going to help them determine what are the right and the wrong things to do to help them maximize their value. And then we're going to show them exactly how much cash they're going to have in their pocket on the day they close, because a lot of this is also going to be a financial decision.
Right.
And then we also let them know that, look, it's free of charge. So we take all the pressure off. You don't have to hire me. There's no obligation to list. But, look, Greg's on the phone, Jessica's on the phone. There's probably a lot of pros on the phone. All I need is the appointment. When I'm on the appointment, even though I'm not going to pressure you to list, I can tell you that there's a real high percentage that when you get to that point, we're going to probably be the company you're going to go with. And so that's what we bank on. And so when we set that appointment. Now, when we don't reach somebody on the phone, we do a couple things. We have a series of 4 letters that go out, and then we actually have a year-long email campaign with videos that go out to our sellers in order to keep ourselves in front of them in between phone calls or while we're trying to reach them. If we get somebody that's out of ways, then we also get permission to set them up on our market snapshot, top producer, so that we can stay in touch with them on a monthly basis as to where the values are going in their neighborhood. And then we do have a just listed card, we do have a just sold card, and we do have a testimonial card that we will keep them in our physical mailings as well. So going through all of this, and of course what we're starting to see now, and you and I have talked about it, is we're now starting to roll into that phase of bold leads where we have harvested and we have nurtured and we have moved along with these seller leads that we've got more and more that are now starting to hit the market. So I think an important thing for everybody on the call is to remember that follow-up is everything on these leads. And it doesn't matter what leads, but follow-up is everything. 97% of all people follow up they'll make the first call, right? By about the 6th follow-up, only 3% of people are still following up with a potential prospect or client. And so by the end of the game, it's like the last guy standing.
Yeah.
And our goal is to always make sure that it is us. So that's how we approach it. Now, I see a lot of posts, and I think that I don't know how best to say it, but sometimes we're looking for the magic pill, and there's not a magic pill. You just have to do it. And I believe in a full force multimedia type approach, which is direct mail, email. We use BombBomb for our video emails. We've got one that's set up that goes out to everybody that has me in it.
Cool.
If that's good or bad, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And so they can now associate a name with a face, and then we will do text messaging as well. And so my advice is to just go, set up your systems, and just go, and then tweak your systems as you're moving along. And you're going to see over time you're going to see great success within the system. And then these leads will start dropping through the funnel on a pretty regular basis.
That's awesome, Bill. That's a ton of good stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's kind of it. And I'm glad to share what I can with what we've got. Some of it is not really proprietary, but the videos that we do and stuff like that are you have to go out and shoot them, but
right.
But they work. And the key is you got to hang in there. You got to work these leads, and look, you're going to get more than your fair share.
Awesome.
It's just going to happen.
Cool. Thanks, Bill. That was great.
You're welcome.
Greg, do you want to go through your approach and how you would approach a seller lead once it comes in and that kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. Sure, we'll do it. And that was some fantastic information from Bill. I was taking quite a bit of notes. And it's interesting. I probably do some things that are similar, and I do some things that are different. And so that's I'm glad I was able to hear him share. So, I want to start off with the mindset. Because I think a lot of people sometimes they get these things confused where they can just sign up for a system, and the system is going to generate business for them. And that's, and I understand that mindset, but my approach is this. My approach is bold leads and systems that, do things like this, different types of strategies. But I believe the system is an identification system, not necessarily a lead generation system. Like Bill said about follow-up, I also agree follow-up is the most critical component. And I think the follow-up is the generating system. So bold leads is the identification system. It identifies, hey, here's out of this population of 30,000 people, here's one person that we has poked their head up and identified that they're interested in a real estate conversation. So that's where we're identifying opportunities, and then the call and the follow-up is where we generate and convert on those opportunities. So just kind of wanted to share that because some people think that the systems do all the work for them, and I think that's kind of a mistake. So the way that I've got, my strategy is a lead comes in, and immediately the lead is set up, and this is one of your automatic emails. I think I changed a couple words just to customize it, but an email immediately, goes out, an autoresponder that acknowledges the request and, and lets them know that we're going to be working on the valuation. Then I have a 10-minute email that's triggered that goes out from the bold lead system after 10 minutes, and it says something like, hey, I'm working on, on the valuation. I wanted to ask you a few additional questions. Could you tell me how many bedrooms do you have? How many baths do you have? A garage, no garage, square foot, and overall the condition of the property. So the intent here is not to actually see what their response is going to be in order for me to better my valuation. The intent is to make them feel like we're actually in a live conversation already, and I'm being responsible with the way that I'm going to value the property, and I'm going to take into consideration any type of information that they give me. That's the intent of that particular email. So those two emails are going out. The first one's immediate, acknowledging I received the request. 10 minutes later, hey, yeah, I'm working on it. I'd like to get this additional information. And then I have it triggered on 1 hour for the Cloud CMA to go. And basically, I'm allowing the Cloud CMA to generate a CMA automatically without me going in and doing any any revisions or generating it myself. I'm doing that only for efficiency purposes, not necessarily. I'm sure we could debate as to if I took a little bit more time and made sure I customized that report a little bit more, maybe that would be more appealing to the consumer. But I'm kind of sacrificing that for efficiency. And I have it set up at 1 hour because I need them to, some people I know have it set up to go out like really quick, but I felt like if it went out too quick, then they might think that it's automated and I didn't put any effort into it. So I think they will devalue the, that report if it comes too quick. 1 hour, considering after the 10-minute spell, I asked them about their house, give me some more information. Then 1 hour, or I should say 50 minutes later, I'm done with the report and the report shows up in their email. Okay. Now, once that report shows up in their email, of course, we get a copy from Cloud CMA that says to us that, hey, this has been sent to this bold lead. That's our trigger for making the phone call. Okay. So right after we get the notification, or as quickly as we can, after we get the bold lead or the Cloud CMA notification, we are on the phone. Purpose of our call is not to sell them. Okay. Purpose of our call is, hey, this is Greg Harrelson, Century 21. Just wanted to touch base. That's property evaluation that you requested. I went ahead and sent that. It should be in your email. Did you have a chance to did you get a chance to take a look at that yet? And most of them will say no. Say, okay, well, take a look at it, and and just share with me if there's any additional information. I was very careful about not giving an exact figure as to what your property's worth because I haven't seen the property, so I don't want to mislead you or misvalue the property. But I've given you a tremendous amount of information that kind of help you come up with that information. I'm just kind of curious, though. I mean, have you put any thought to selling? So I do ask the question. But it's not that's not the purpose of the call. At least I don't want the lead to feel that was the purpose of my call. Because I also feel like Bill had mentioned, if we get an immediate listing, fantastic. I mean, yes, we're going to get a few of those. I'm really in this for the long haul and what's past the 9 to 12 month, 18th month period. That's really what I'm looking for. That's how I'm calculating my return. So I make that phone call, and a lot of the leads are going to be, well, I was just curious, and I'm really not interested. Not a problem. Okay, if I don't get an answer on that phone call, we are actually texting them a small little message. Just, hey, I sent you your property evaluation. Please confirm that you received it. That's all the text is going to say. Not asking for anything. So if I don't talk to them, I'm texting them. Okay, now from that point on, what's happening to the lead? We're going to assume at this moment that I didn't just get a listing appointment. Then I have the system set up where I then have it integrated and sending that lead into Infusionsoft. And two things is going to happen. Number one, they go into what I call a long-term seller campaign, and that campaign is actually built for 24 months. So for the next 24 months, they are going to be receiving information about my market, but most importantly, it's going to be geared to people that are thinking about selling. An example will be maybe 3 months down the road, there's an email built in my campaign that'll say something like this. Hello, Bill. It's just wanted to reach out to you again. We had a conversation a couple months ago, and I sent you that property valuation. Wanted to see how things are going. I actually created a calculator, and it's called a net sheet calculator. If you'd ever like to get an understanding of what you would net in your pocket at different price ranges, go ahead and play with the net sheet calculator and let me know if I can ever help you. Okay. The reason I have a net sheet calculator in there is for one reason. As soon as they hit that link and put their information into that net sheet calculator, then I have a trigger set up that will email me that'll say, hey, Bill, just used your net sheet calculator and he punched in that he would like to sell his property for 400,000 and this is what he would net, this is his mortgage. All that information is actually being pushed to me from Infusionsoft so I can see what Bill's actually put in the calculator, and then I'm going to then trigger, that's going to trigger me to call Bill. So once I get them into my Infusionsoft campaigns, I have a series of emails that's going to go out and have many opportunities for him to interact and engage with different calculators that I have set up, and I'm monitoring his click patterns. So as I see that he is starting to engage more heavily in my messages, then I know that the probability is increasing that he might be thinking of doing something, so then we are going to get out there and start calling them again.
That's awesome.
I also have the Cloud CMA set up where it's generating a new Cloud CMA every 60 days. So that's coming from Cloud CMA. So my nurture program from Infusionsoft is kind of coordinated. I know that every 60 days there's a Cloud CMA. So I wrote my campaigns in Infusionsoft with understanding that, you know, on the 65th day, you know, an email will go out saying, hey, did you get a chance to take a look at that? So I have all that coordinated together. For the most part, again, that campaign is going to last for 2 years, because I think in 2 years, at some point, I will be thinking, or a good percentage of them will be thinking about doing something. But the key is I'm making the call. Every time they make a move, we make a call. If they watch a video about how to negotiate the highest price for selling a property, because that video would be in my Infusionsoft campaign, if they watch that video, we call them. Now, I don't say, hey, Bill, I saw you watch my video. That's too big brother, right? They'll be kind of freaked out about that.
Right.
But I know you watched the video, and that's triggering the call. So I'm responding to their engagement. And the more they consume and the more they engage, the more likely I will convert them. So that's, I think, what
Cool.
that's pretty much my system from A to Z at this point. And I'm sure we'll continue to learn things together and alter it, but that's how we're converting at this point.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that net sheet calculator idea.
Yeah, thanks. I got quite a few different little tools like that I get a lot of engagement. And again, the more people consume, then the more likely they're going to look at me as their preferred agent.
That's awesome. Great.
Good.
Sounds like you
Thank
got everything thought out, which is really cool. Very cool. Jessica, do you want to go over how you approach seller leads?
Yeah, I'll be short and sweet here, but
Cool.
just to agree with what Bill said, I think it's really important to talk about the value of the home. So just understanding the consumer's process of what they've just gone through. You know, they've been marketed on Facebook and they've ended up on a landing page and they've given their contact information, and they may expect that it was going to spit them out a number. And so when I go back and I coach kind of some of my clients and agents who we're following up and seeing how things are going, some that are struggling, I'll go right back and say, well, what's your script? And they can't rattle it off. That means, one, they don't have a clear script that they're working with. They're winging it. They're Captain Winging it. And we go back and we say, you know, you may have an encounter a speed bump when you talk to one of these clients. And they may say, I wasn't expecting a real estate agent to call. And you've got to figure out a way to finesse and walk through that and drive over that speed bump. And you just agree and talk through it. That's what I advise, and that's what I've had success with. So instead of calling someone and saying, you know, hi, Jessica, this is someone from ABC Company. I just received your request online. When are you thinking about moving? And that, even though it sounds nice, you're going to shut them down. We want to be a provider of information and not a phone predator. So when you call, you know, hi, Jessica, this is someone from ABC Real Estate. I just received your request for a home valuation. I'm going to be pulling those comparables and working on getting that report over to you, maybe in the next hour or so. Is there anything about your home that would set it apart from your neighbors? That's just so much less invasive and will put them not on the defense. And the next response might be, well, I didn't realize that a real estate agent will be calling me. Oh, yes, that's just a service that I provide to the community. So are you thinking about moving in the next little while? Just something to move through their perception and turning yourself into a provider of information and building the relationship. The other piece I see a lot is that agents who are using Bold Leads have not really thought about their process. So they maybe don't realize the tools that we have already built into the Bold Leads system. The automated follow-up that we have capable without expanding into any other product is it's great. I mean, you could build and customize different campaigns based on timing and motivation and have those automated emails and text messages and attaching PDFs with content and newsletters, and that's all part of our product already. So I think, you know, taking a real look at how you want this process to feel, whether you want the CMA to go out first, whether you're going to automate it, whether you have the ability to automate it with Cloud CMA or another product like RPR. Our Canadian clients, they don't have the same access to information that our US clients have. So, you know, they have to just think about when the call comes in, you know, how soon am I going to get to it? Hope we all know that the first 5 minutes is the window we're shooting for. And then what am I going to say? Really thinking about that script and understanding what the consumer's gone through, and then building out that follow-up process with tasks for phone calls, with emails, with varying your content. Obviously, the mailing and the door knocking are things that you can do with your time and your money, but just really taking a step back and looking at how you want that to go through. It seems really simple, but when I follow up with agents, you know, it seems like they bought it, they're dialing, they're winging it, and they're not taking a step back to figure out what the entire process is going to look like. So I would just, you know, add that to the mix here. Know your sales process, set it up, know your script, watch your tone and delivery, and don't wing it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. We do hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a game plan at all. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, there's a lot of good information on here. I'm taking notes myself. Cool, guys. Appreciate everyone joining the call and contributing. So much good stuff. Let me check the questions and see if there's anything. Let's see. Greg, some people are asking if there's a place they can get a copy or see the NetSheet calculator. Is that private to you?
Well, no, I don't. You know, I don't think they can. I mean, it's that's actually built into my Infusionsoft program. So it's nothing that I'm, you know, that I have sitting anywhere, you know, on the web. It's actually built into my Infusionsoft program. It's an automated email that goes out, and it sits on one of a landing page that's internally in the Infusionsoft program or application.
Gotcha. Okay. So hopefully that answers that one.
You know, for somebody, I mean, there was a time in the beginning that I just had a NetSheet calculator created on an Excel spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. And I could actually send the email the Excel spreadsheet to somebody, and they could kind of play with the calculator. That was like, you know, years ago I was doing that. So, I mean, you could create one on an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that would be too difficult to do.
No.
Let's see. Somebody's asking, what is a guaranteed sale program? Anybody want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Am I live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's, this is Bill Watson. So that's our unique selling proposition. Your home sold, guaranteed, or we'll buy it. And that's that unique selling proposition is basically in all of our marketing, everything that we send out, in our signatures, on our direct mails, and everything else. And it's really quite simple. If we can agree on price terms, we'll guarantee your sale. The house doesn't sell, we'll buy it.
So it's basically just to reverse the risk of them hiring you, basically.
Well, and here's the other important thing that listeners out there, if you go up against me on a listing appointment, because of our guaranteed sale plan, it's really tough to compete against, and it's not as scary as it sounds. A lot of people have approach avoidance with it, because the first thing they tell me is, gosh, you know, I really can't buy a house, and You don't have to. But here's the important thing. The important thing is on the listing appointment. One of the guarantees that we make with our seller clients is that we're going to do everything that we can to market to 100% of the market. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what that means. What that means is, because of our guaranteed sale plan, if someone likes your home and we can agree on price and terms, we'll guarantee their sale so that they can make a non-contingent offer on your home. See, what that means to you is that because about 80% of the people in our marketplace right now who would like to buy your home probably already own a home, we can have conversations with that market that the average agent can't. The average agent can only talk to 20% of the market, which is those that have their home under contract, have their home sold, they're renters or they're investors, which is fine. But there's a big part of that pie, the other 80%, that are waving their hands out in the marketplace saying, you know what, I'd like to talk to you about that. And here's the reason why, certainly in our market, is because we have very, very low inventories. We have sellers that are nervous about coming to the market because they don't think that they can find another home to buy. And so we have a whole other layer of work that we're doing now with our seller clients just because of the dynamics of our market. So how appealing is it for someone who wants to look at one of our listings, has a home to sell, we can agree on price and terms, we can guarantee their sale, and we can put the whole package together. So that is a big, big proposition, unique selling proposition that we're making to our seller clients to get their home sold fast for top dollar with the least amount of hassle. So, you know, there's a lot of different unique selling propositions out there, you know, that you can use if this one makes you a little bit nervous. But that's what the guaranteed sale plan is, and that's what it does for us. Hopefully that explains it adequately.
Yeah, that's great. I think that was pretty thorough. Let's see if there's anything else.
If you never ask me a yes or no question, Danny, you know that by now you'll never get a yes or no.
Let's see. Offer. Okay, we answered that. David's asking, for address captures, do you recommend using a service like Intellius to get phone and email info, or is that too invasive? David, we do have some clients that are using like lookup services. There's searchbug.com, there's like Melissa Data, there's whitepages.com to find phone and email information for different prospects. I don't have any data if that's effective for them or not, but there are agents that are doing that. So it's really up to you and your style and how you want to approach it.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
This is Bill again. I'd like to make a comment about everybody worrying about us being evasive. You know, these people came out to the site, and they, you know, I mean, they evidently had some kind of an interest, right? But they wanted to keep their anonymity, and so they didn't go all the way, and I get that, and that's fine. You know, we're in this whole new world of gathering information that wasn't around even, you know, 5 or 10 years ago. But the evasive part is how you would handle the call, right? If you can get their phone number, and you can do it through those, you can do it through the Cole Realtor directory. There's another company out there called Bresslers that provides the same kind of product. So the phone call does not have to be, hey, you know, you came to my site, but you didn't give me all my information, so, hey, look, I found your name and phone number, so now I'm stalking you.
Right.
The phone call is just a simple, hey, you know, this is just a courtesy call. As you know, the Denver market has improved greatly. We have over 5,000 buyers within our buyer lead database that are looking for homes in the Denver metro area. A number of those are looking for a home in your area. Are you thinking about selling? So you can do that. The other thing that you can do is you can do a direct response postcard, maybe a testimonial card, maybe just another card that talks about getting the online home evaluation, to reach out to them a second time to see if you can quantify, you know, that lead, or you can validate kind of where they're at, and draw them back into the conversation that way as well. So, you know, don't worry about being evasive in what we do. As long as you know how to handle that call and approach it, you'll never, ever, ever have to be perceived that way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. All right, let's do one more question. Greg there's like 4 questions about what type of results have you seen already, and what do you anticipate your results will be. So I don't know if you
You
want to
know,
answer that or not.
yeah, sure. I mean, I think the numbers that you kind of put up are fairly accurate. I mean, I'm a little bit, well, I'm a lot newer to your system than probably a lot of people that are on, that are listening to this. And I can just tell you in the first 70 days, I took 4 listings.
Wow.
Um, and right now, I've got 2 people that I say are probably going to list within the next 14 days. So the results have been tremendous. Again, I've dealt with databases, for quite a many years, and I just know that the real return is going to be in year 2. I'm convinced of that, even though I haven't been here had a year or 2 yet with your system. I can just tell that that's in my mind. It's after the 12th month is where we're going to really kick in. But my conversion's been very solid in the short period of time that I've been dealing with it.
Awesome.
Now we're calling like crazy. I'm telling you, we call them, getting them on the
That's
phone.
fantastic. That's really good. I didn't even realize that. Awesome. Okay. Well, for the sake of time, I think I'm gonna cut this right here. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it so much. Everybody's talking about how awesome it is and all the questions and comments here. So great. A lot of good feedback. And I think most of the people on the call are already using Bold Leads, so that's great. So you can put these techniques to use right away. Start setting those appointments, and then we'll post a recording in the training section, so you can come and revisit this and go over some of these tips again, because I know we went through a ton of stuff today. If you don't have any idea what Bold Leads is, you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch a video demo at our website at boldleads.com. and see how we can help you start generating seller leads in your market. And it is restricted by geographic area, so we don't oversaturate an area or oversell it. So if you're interested, you can check your area's availability at our homepage. And thank you to everyone that's on the call, and thanks to Bill, Jessica, and Greg for all their awesome information. All right, guys.
Yep.
Have a good weekend.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.